What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. When was the last time you extended somebody grace? When was the last time you told somebody it was okay when they hurt you? When was the last time you forgave someone for upsetting you or making you angry or even just making you hurt? I think a lot of you listening right now can honestly say you're still holding grudges towards somebody. You're still resenting certain people. You're still struggling with forgiveness. Extending grace has been on my mind a lot lately. And oddly enough, it's been a topic that a lot of people have been talking to me about, or just mentioning how they feel like they need to extend more grace to people. And I realize that a lot of us don't want to extend grace to people because we feel like they don't deserve it. But when you really think about it, do we always deserve grace extended towards us? We make a lot of mistakes. We struggle, we mess up. And for me, I always just go back to Jesus and just how we constantly do things that hurt God. We constantly do things that make us not like Him, or make us not like Him. And I realize that He forgives us. He still loves us. He's compassionate towards us. He doesn't judge us. He doesn't hold things against us. He doesn't condemn us. But that's what we do to other people. And I think one of the biggest mistakes of holding on grudges towards people is that it ruins you. It puts so much weight on you, puts so much weight on your heart. It creates so much anxiety in you. It creates so much frustration and stress to the point that you want to punch a wall. And for what? Because it doesn't do anything towards that other person. That other person is still going on with their life. I believe it was Nelson Mandela that says, holding on to anger is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. And that's what a lot of us do. We hold on to anger, we hold on to frustration, we get so mad, and we're like, they should know how mad I am. They should feel this. Well, they don't. They don't feel it. And they have their own stuff too. I think we forget that. And even if they're suffering, even if they're struggling in their lives, it has nothing to do with us. It's not like they feel bad towards us. They feel bad because they're going through their own things. And as humans, that's how we're many times created, to just worry about our problems. Not even look at the fact that we're hurting other people. But getting back to extending grace, one of my favorite characters in the Bible is King David. I've always loved his heart, his compassion, his love towards God. As God said, he was a man after his own heart. But I also love how he dealt with King Saul. King Saul couldn't stand David. King Saul couldn't stand who David was to become. He couldn't stand how God showed him favor. And when you think about King Saul, he was royalty on the royal throne. A good-looking guy, according to the scriptures. He had it all. But he was jealous of David, who was not a king, who didn't have what he had. But he was jealous. I love what it says in 1 Samuel 18:6. It says, when the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul, with singing and dancing, with joyful songs, and with timbrels and lyres. As they danced, they sang, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. So obviously this made Saul very angry. And he says, they have credited David with tens of thousands, he thought, but me with only thousands. And that goes back to the comparison and the jealousy. All that he had to get upset with that. So this led to Saul hating David. This led to apparently Saul having David chased out of town, like throwing spears at David any chance he got, looking to attack and kill him. And I was reading a book recently, and the book was called A Tale of Three Kings by Gene Edwards. And I was wondering, why did God allow Saul to basically chase David everywhere? And the book talks about how it's like David had so much favor and God was with him, but David still had to run away from Saul and his army, always be on the chase. And the author mentioned how God was allowing that to happen so that David could extend Saul grace. Because there was so many opportunities where David could have attacked Saul. There were so many opportunities that he could have avoided being chased, and instead did the chasing himself. So the whole point I want to make in the David and King Saul story is that David was not going to become king until the Saul in him died. I'm going to say that again. David was not going to become king until the Saul in him died. God did not want to see any trace of Saul in David. And to do that, David was to be put to the test, to see if he can extend Saul grace, to see if he can avoid attacking Saul and retaliating. A lot of us would do so good to realize that we're not going to achieve our destiny. We're not going to become who we're called to be. We're not going to get to that next level until we learn to have God's heart, until we learn to have compassion, and until we learn not to retaliate towards other people. And when that point in the book stated that, it hit me like a ton of bricks, because I realized, wow, God will allow certain things to happen. God will allow us to be put to the test, to see what we're truly made of, to see our true character, to see that we either have forgiveness in our hearts or we don't. And it's something that's a process, and it's something that has to be cultivated. A lot of us struggle with forgiveness. A lot of us struggle with extending grace. But a lot of us need to remember that when we hold on to grudges, when we have hatred in our hearts, it keeps us from where God wants us to go. It doesn't hurt the other person, it hurts us. And you look at King Saul and all his jealousy and rage, he was focusing on what he was not, instead of focusing on who he was. And a lot of us would do good not comparing ourselves and just choose to focus on who we are, the gifts that we have, the talents that we have, what we can do. And not have any jealousy in our hearts, not have any hatred towards anyone. So I just want to really hone in on the fact that if you're struggling with forgiving someone, if you're having trouble extending that grace, just remember that it is okay to struggle with that. It is a battle. It's an uphill battle every single day. And we've been through a lot of things in our lives, whether someone hurt you, whether a teacher said you're no good, whether a parent may have hurt you, whether you ever received that love or not. It's going to be a constant battle. It's going to keep you from loving other people. But what I want to remind people on this channel to know that the sole focus is to become more like Christ. The sole focus is to have more love and compassion in your heart. And if you want to get there, it takes having that forgiveness. It takes extending that grace to people who may not deserve it, and reminding yourself that I don't deserve it either, that I'm not worth it of it either. I'm not deserving of it either, but Christ gave it to me anyway. And he died on that cross to give me what I did not deserve. So how dare I not give someone something that's been given to me? And I promise you, you'll start to see that weight fall off your shoulders. I promise you that that weight that you have on your heart, it will go away, slowly but surely. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. Just like David wasn't going to become a king overnight. It was a process. God wasn't just going to hand him the throne, because if he would have handed him the throne, he might not have been able to act in a godly manner. He might not have been capable of handling all the responsibilities it took to be king, to be a son of God, to be a man after God's heart. So you may be going through a trial right now. You may be battling with unforgiveness. You may be hoping and wishing you were another spot that someone else has. Someone may have took your job. Someone may have got promoted that you felt you should have gotten that promotion. Someone may have a bigger YouTube channel than you. Someone may be exactly where you would want to be, and you feel like they don't deserve it. And they may have hurt you, and they may have crushed you. But just keep in mind that you're being tested. And if you can extend love and grace to people who you don't feel deserve it, you will stand the test. You will pass. You will prove that you're ready. And that you will prove that God has truly transformed your heart, and that he's with you, and that you're seeking him with everything inside of you. So don't give up. Don't feel down about where you are. Don't hold on to bitterness and rage and all that confusion. Trust and believe that you're being put to the test. And trust and believe if you persevere and you don't give up, you will come outside of that with the heart of Christ. And you will reach that next level that God wants you in. You will achieve that true calling and purpose that he has for you. Take care, guys, and God bless.